Thank you for tuning in. This is DJ Fob Fresh from SegaShiro.com, your Sega resource, and this is a DS review. This is Aliens Infestation. Developed by WayForward Technologies and Gearbox Software, Aliens Infestation is a Metrovania style of game. However, it takes that style of gameplay, that open world concept where certain items will open up new areas, and meshes it with a Resident Evil, an early Resident Evil, like Resident Evil 1 or 2 style of pacing. Respawning enemies and resource management are the keys to the game here. No room is ever safe for any period of time. Death is permanent in Aliens Infestation, and thus it makes every time that you navigate the halls a question in trial and patience. Is it worth going for that extra health pack or that extra upgrade if you know that you might lose your Marine along the way? Each one of the characters in Aliens Infestation acts as their own life. So if you lose all of your Marines, you can't progress forward in the game. So the game works around this in an interesting way. You start off with 4 characters, each unique in their standing still animations, but otherwise play the same. And if one of your character dies, you can actually meet new characters and have them join your squad. Each character has slightly different elements to their storyline that they bring up in conversations. However, generally the story arc is the same for all characters. However, that said, there will be some characters that you like more than others, and specifically during some of the grander boss fights, I found myself switching characters and knowing that some Marines were just going to go out there to die while I was saving others for later in the game. Hit detection is not always the best, and sometimes it feels a little bit off, but it never is game-breaking. Enemies often respawn in exactly the same spaces as you've seen them before, so if you've been traversing a hall several times or you get to know the map really well, you can almost predict when some of the creatures will pop up. And for a game that's meant to scare you at times, that's a bit of a problem. However, despite knowing that enemies might be appearing in certain locations, it's still always tense fighting them, and you always have to double check whether you have enough ammo or enough gear to make it to the next stage, and sometimes you just gotta run like crazy. The variety of weapons in the game is wonderful, and I personally adored the flamethrower. Also, the map and motion tracker are integrated into the game in a seamless, wonderful fashion. I absolutely love the ability to use flares to mark certain locations, so in my adventures, if I came across an upgrade, I would drop a flare so I know where I had to go back to in other sections. It was so handy, and it was a perfect design choice. For the most part, the sound design is just about perfect. The map sounds, the sounds of the gunfire, the music, play it in the dark, play it with headphones, and you will not be disappointed. There are 4 main boss fights in the game, and while those are suitably fun, I kinda wish there were a few more. About halfway through the game, you unlock a hilarious minigame, which you can play at any time, and it's pulled right out of Aliens 2, and if you're an Aliens fan, seeing it will make you smile. It's a perfect use of the DS. Your gameplay mileage will depend highly on whether or not you want to keep your Marines alive. I killed about 5 or 6 of them during the course of the campaign, just during boss fights, and I kind of willingly sent those guys to die. If you were a little more focused, you could actually keep all your Marines alive, but you'd be spending a lot of time restarting saves. The pixel art is generally fantastic and will remind old school gamers of Aliens 3 on the Genesis. The controls are tight and responsive, and the use of dual screens is done rather well. Despite its flaws, this ended up being one of my favorite games by WayForward Technologies. It also does a great job of capturing the Aliens universe.